Thanks, Bala. Hi, everybody. Good afternoon to you all and Happy New Year. It's been a very empowering morning because I'm hearing a lot of stories of changes that people have bought in them, uh, enabled changes in their kids, enabled changes in the family. It's really empowering and, I'm really happy to share my story. We're a family of three, myself, my husband, and 14-year-old son, Surya. Surya was born in 2005. He was a preterm kid, born 2 months earlier. Doctor had told us that he would be a little late in his milestones of walking, talking, etc. So we were quite prepared for it. When he was around 3 and a half, we were getting these constant feedback from school saying that he doesn't talk to kids much. He doesn't, of course, speech had still not come by then, and he would not socialize with everybody, etc. So, we became kind of aware and we started taking him for interventions. At around 5 years old, we got the diagnosis that Surya has ADHD and is on the autism spectrum. Uh, Speech had just started. It would be essentially repeating what everybody were talking about. And here I was, a parent, going through the whole cycle of grief. It starts with denial, anger. You start bargaining with yourself as to why me, why us. And then finally comes the acceptance. The acceptance part is the part where I was really empowered. It empowered me to really take action for my child. He was in a school which had a special ed team, so there was support. A lot of what I realized that, and I was told that there are 4 ways in which you bring change in a child. One is occupation therapy, second is behavior modification, third is special education, and the fourth is medication. We'll leave medication out of it. We've left it till now, and we will continue to leave it, out of the whole, therapy. Behavior modification was something that I really caught on to because I felt that it is not just in school or teachers. A lot of big part is played by us parents along with the teachers who I still believe are my parents, are the partners for me in this journey, of last 10 years. So, like Bala was telling, why don't you share some of the stuff that you have done? So, one of the stuff that, I used to do, I'm an entrepreneur. I used to be an entrepreneur. I stopped my business. I had a small office in Indira Nagar. I did all that so that I could give an undivided attention to my son because, I was trying to figure what is all this autism and ADHD all about. ADHD essentially is your kid is hyperactive. He's not able to focus for a long period of time. Those are two great things, and there are a lot of things that flows because of that. You get your visual perception problem, you get your sensory integration issue, all of that. And then he was on the high-functioning autism spectrum. So I did a lot of, like all our parents, all of us, crawl the internet to kind of try and understand this whole topic. How am I going to help? So one line that I read in a book caught my attention, which is, hey, Surya, think about it. Because, there was a lot of aggression that was there in the school. There was a lot of, emotions that were getting played out in the school, in the classroom, etc. So how will I explain to Surya? And because I knew that, it is not me that will ultimately bring change, it is him bringing change in himself. That will be a long-standing thing for him. So I read in one of the psychology books, I'm not a psychologist, I'm an HR professional, but you change. As you go by, you change, okay, for your child. So I read somewhere, hey, why don't you think? Now, I thought, hey, why don't you think is a very metaphorical statement. A child who is on the autism spectrum, will he understand if I say that? No. So, and, by then, Surya was around 7 years old. I realized that, he's a very kinesthetic learner. He likes to build things. He likes to put together things. He's a very visual learner. He likes colors, pictures, etc. So we use that as a medium. So I said, hey, Surya, let's make a thinking cap. I didn't want him to say, hey, Surya, think. I wanted him to feel there is a thinking cap on his head, to open those neuro pathways so that he starts thinking. He starts answering questions like what, how, why, so that he answers for himself, hey, is there an alternative way of me acting out? Is there a way in which I can? So it is too early for me. He's only 7 years old, and I had people telling me, "Nee enda pandra, what are you doing?" He's a 7-year-old child. But I'm saying, he's 7 today. He's going to be 17 tomorrow. He's going to be 27 afterwards. I need to give him those tools so that he starts thinking for himself, because I cannot think for him. So every day after school, it took 2 months for him to put the cap. I used to put the cap. In the evening, I will say, "Hey, Surya, my day was like this, I did this, I did that." He saw that Amma was talking, and he had started speaking also to some extent, okay. So he saw that. And so I had a cap for myself, thinking cap. I had a cap for my son also. So he put the thinking cap, and one fine day he just came back from school. He was really angry. He threw the bag and all of that. I had already got the call from teacher saying that he had thrown the sambar on somebody with some frustration, So he came and I don't know what, he just put the thinking cap, and he was, in his own bits and pieces way of speaking, he started sharing what he felt. And that is where the journey started of Surya sharing what he felt. Because that was really opening up, because the more he was sharing, the more he was thinking, is that the way? And my questions were just, initially there were no questions. And then slowly I started probing him with one-word questions. Do you think, is there another way of doing it? So the thinking cap was something that we really, 3-4 years, in fact, now the form of the thinking cap has changed. It's no longer the cap per se, but we have a smiley neck pillow, okay, which Surya actually puts it in his head this way when he's revising, all right, because he felt, so I asked him last year when he started doing that, Amma, this is a kind of a thinking cap for me. So I said, why? No, Mama, because the thinking cap made me think a lot of things. So when we are revising, so autism kids have a lot of processing problems. I'm not a medical person, but I've learned along the way. The information is stored here. It takes a long time for it to come here, and for you to apply and execute in your exams, or execute in any field, it takes a long time. All right, so there's a prefrontal cortex issue. That's the ADHD issue. So there are these two things that are clashing, ADHD symptoms and the autism symptoms. So, he says, Amma, this thing, on my head, it makes me think and focus. So basically, teachers will do their things, but parents have to keep improvising, because you know the kid better. And it should not be directive. I have realized that. It needs to be directed. Your kid has to direct you. We also wanted to do it in a very strength-based way. Use your kid's strength to build those competencies which he doesn't have. So my kid doesn't sit in the classroom for more than 2 minutes. A lot of complaints, all of that used to come. Life used to be very frustrated in the earlier years, okay? This journey is now 10 years now, okay? So, I read somewhere, again, Google came to my help, token system. So we devised it, and I'm really thankful to the teachers really for collaborating in this partnership which we had. So we had a token system where, I used to give printouts every week. The teacher used to say, Surya did his class, because he used to not write. Because writing was challenging for him, because it needs him to focus. And because of his attention deficit, he could not focus and sit and write. So he knew, okay, he gets a token system. So end of the week, Amma is going to count, we both are going to count. And from the start system, we went into a token system, where he used to count, and then he used to pick up the blue token and put. Because I wanted him to feel the pleasure of really gaining that blue token for himself. And the result every weekend was not, hey, Surya, good job done. I realized by then that, boss, I'm an uncertified therapist, I'm sorry to use that word. So I realized, let's make it more experiential for Surya, because he likes to go, he doesn't like to go to crowded places. So let me and him both do a lot of things. So his rewards essentially was not chocolate or anything. Rewards was, what does Surya like to do? Surya loves to cook. We realized it. So Surya used to decide, Wednesday only, he used to say, Amma, I think I'm going to get those 10 coins. So, let's cook sushi. I'm a South Indian. I don't know what is sushi. So, he started going on the net, finding out the ingredients of sushi. Now, what am I doing? His execution skills are really bad, because you give him a homework, he will not complete it, he will not start doing on his own. So we used this reward system, and the reward was essentially something that will help him develop his execution skills. So we tied up everything together. Okay, so Surya will decide what are the ingredients needed. Me and Amma will go to city supermarket to buy what are the ingredients needed. Of course, when the math part used to come, he'll just not like it because, yes, he's got that dyscalculia, so he's got a learning disability. So I did not push him. I said, okay, fine, I will pay. You decide what you want. So we enjoyed the whole learning process was there. The execution was the sushi, which I'm sure the Japanese chef will not like, but it was a sushi in the end of the day, and there was a result that was there in front of him. So we used cooking. Surya is a avid World War II. He's 14 years old now. He likes to research on World War II, and that is the Asperger's thing, which you want to go deep into a topic. So he researches a lot on World War II planes, etc. So one of his rewards used to be buying those kit, just 125 pieces together. Okay, those 3D modeling thing, So that used to be the reward. The reward used to be going to different places, seeing places, I must have gone to HAL Museum 50 times in my life. I must have gone to Vishweshwaraya Museum some 45 times. That's the Asperger's. You want to keep on doing the same thing again and again. But I said, okay, hey, if that helped in Surya sharing more with me. Okay, so we have such long conversations nowadays. I think the thinking cap, the time that we spent with him, along the way, I also realized, we also had a lot of people here talk about sports, fitness. Absolutely important, not for physical, but for developing the cognitive skills. Now, one of the medicines used for ADHD are neurotransmitters. Your neurotransmitters are your dopamine, your neoproprene, all of that. Now, I did not know, I discovered this 7 years back, that when you start doing physical exercise, you develop dopamine in your body. And dopamine is something that is given as medicines to an ADHD child. I decided, hey, I don't want to give medicines. Let us introduce sports into my child. So I put him in tennis, lot of aggression, throwing of rackets happened, Amma, I will not play happened, all of that happened. But along the way, I realized long back that if I do things with Surya, he will do it with me. Because one of the symptoms of autism is that repetition. You look at somebody and you do what they are doing. So what I did was that I was 102, I became 75. All right, in 1.5 years' time, because Surya started saying, Amma, why don't we jog before the tennis practice starts together? I used to jog and I used to huff and puff. Then I realized, boss, if I want change in him, I need to change myself. Things at home need to change. So, it's a long story short, I run 10Ks, etc. right now. I go to gym 3-4 times a day. Surya has taken up cycling now. Because he says, Amma, I go cycling around my community, I'm able to focus more nowadays. He does mountaineering. He does, not still the big mountains yet, but, so all of that. So sports we added along the way, because we realized that, we need to keep improvising at home in order to do what? Now, when I come to sports, when I come to tennis, now, I want a behavior change in my child. I don't want my child to be aggressive. When will he not be aggressive? When he sees success. Will Surya see success in his current state of mind? He will not, because he will not have eye-hand coordination to hit the ball and the racket. So what am I going to do? So sometimes behavior change cannot be the end result. You need to do a chain of things to ensure that there is a behavior change. So small things done. I told the coach who was teaching him tennis, why don't you, when you throw the ball and when Surya is hitting, say hit. Because Surya's distracted all around the countryside. You need a verbal command when the ball is coming down and say hit will make him hit the ball. All right. So, and a visual. Okay, he's a visual learner. So I put with a sketch pen a dot on the ball, telling the sir, hold the ball this way so the dot is visible. So Surya has to hit the dot at the time when the coach says hit. So now those bought the behavior change, which was in a line, 10 kids. Each of them get 10 shots. Surya used to only play 3 shots and used to just run around and see there, that's a bug there. He'll then go into tangent. That is ADHD for you. All right. So, but because of that, he started hitting 5 shots. He was motivated. He started hitting 5, 6, 7, 8 shots. That was like a domino effect on him. It was like a force multiplier. Okay, so what I'm trying to say is that, behavior change cannot come as a first step. You have to do 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 things to bring the behavior change. Now, behavior change in a kid is an absolute line of treatment globally for a special child. So the best thing that happened to us was that there was a behavioral change in me, there was a behavioral change in my husband. Today, I think I am a better person because of my son. I have better, newer competencies because of my son. I am more resilient because of my son. I got into sports. You know, I'm one of the administrator for a fitness group, you know, having 5,000 people, which is a very active group, you know. All of that is because here is a son, okay, who needs my help. All right. I needed to change myself to bring a change in him. I cannot bring a change in him unless I do not change myself. Now, that is the biggest realization that has come in us. Today morning, I went to the gym, I came back. My husband started going to gym. Can you believe it? You know, he used to be someone who used to just watch, and I used to say, I'm going to the gym and coming. And 3 years he was watching me, wondering why is this lady going for so much pain, and telling back, coming back and saying, I did squats, my thighs are paining and all of that. Now he is an avid gymmer along with me. Today, me and him were just, we have this way of bonding, me and my husband, by saying, kitna reps kiya yaar, kitna deadlift kiya yaar, we do that. So Surya got up late and he said, okay, Amma, I'm just going cycling. We didn't say anything to him. We knew that that change in us was bringing a change in him. So change catalyst is a word that you all are using. Change catalyst doesn't happen. You cannot bring change in one person unless you do not bring the change. The person needs to see it. Surya needed to see that Amma has brought change. Appa has brought the change. So that is my journey really. It is still going on. Surya is now 14 years old. He is in the 9th grade now. He is in an NIO school. There are still learning challenges that are there. I will not say that it will be there for a long period of time. But he's more independent kid. There are strategies that he himself builds. Okay, for example, he says, Amma, this is my study time. Can I clear all this table, everything that is there, all my models that I have built in the past 4 hours, so that I do not get distracted. He knows that he gets distracted. He knows that he needs to think of strategies to ensure that he doesn't get distracted. He goes to malls nowadays with me. He used to not go to mall because of sensory integration. Lot of noise that he used to get really affected because of the autism spectrum challenges. Now he goes to the mall and he says, he came up with the idea, Amma, let's go to mall at 11 o'clock. Music is very less at that time. We can finish our shopping and come back. Now that is a strategy that he thought for himself. So it is very important that as we help our children to bring change, we need to ensure that they bring the change themselves. It is not us asking them to bring a change. So this is a little something, I can go on and on about a lot of things. But, I just felt that, these are the few things that I can share with you all. So have a great day. And, it's been a wonderful afternoon, which started in the morning. And thanks, Bala, for inviting me. And thanks to Bangalore schools for the opportunity, really, to, bringing the parents together and bringing the community.